Indiana fans, like that move?
It's pretty good.
We're having some fun. This is the afternoon before the big game in Philadelphia. We're right here on the river between Camden and Philadelphia in front of our hotel. Jeff Rabjohns, Mike Pegram from Peegs.com.
Tour guides.
Yeah. Hey, hours from what, we were talking about on the boards today might be the biggest game or an opportunity, I put in my story, for Indiana to get to the Elite Eight for only the second time in 23 years, and to do it with a win over a number one seed, followed by, after a win over Kentucky. This could be the opportunity for the biggest win for the program, at least since that 2002 run to the final game. It's that much at stake here.
Yeah, I think that it's not just a regular Sweet 16 game, but because not that Sweet 16s are sort of just normal occurrences, but because of the path that Indiana would have to take, and then the opportunity to get to the Elite Eight by going through Kentucky and Carolina, it really does make for a special opportunity, and it makes it, I don't know, to me it just has one of those moment kind of feels to it, to where it's not just another NCAA tournament. I think if Indiana got to the Elite Eight by going through Kentucky and through Carolina, it has that feel of something people would remember for a long time.
A couple interesting stats. Indiana, I think, has a winning record against number one seeds in the NCAA tournament, which is maybe the second best of all time I've heard on the web today. And they've also have to go up against Sweet 16 where underdogs have not fared too well of late.
Right.
So you got Indiana has done well in these situations before, but as we saw last night, it seems like regionals is where the better teams, the better seeds, sometimes just dominate opponents. And last night's games weren't even close.
No, they weren't. I mean, Duke hung around for a little while, but Oregon, clearly proved it was the better team. Same thing with Oklahoma. There was a point it just said, we're better. We're going to show it to you. Here's our run, and there's no question who was playing better in those games. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens tonight. I think it's a really interesting game from the standpoint of so many different guys could actually determine it. Both teams have a lot of guys that could determine who wins. Isaiah Thomas has made those comments about, talking about the number of 11s and everything, and he talks about Yogi and his matchup with Marcus Page. It was interesting. Nate Britt, when I was talking to him in the locker room, the North Carolina guard, he said Marcus is probably only going to guard Yogi for a little while, that it's probably going to be Joel Berry on Yogi for a majority of the game. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. With Carolina, they got so many guys who really can score. Obviously, you start with Bryce Johnson, but you go to Justin Jackson, you go to Marcus Page, you go to Joel Berry. I mean, you got so many guys who could determine it. But the same thing with Indiana, especially if you look at, North Carolina doesn't have anybody who shoots above, I think it's 38% in the field, and Indiana's got like 6 regulars who shoot more than that. So there's so many different guys who could determine this, and so many different guys could maybe be the guy like in a 2 or 3 minute spurt that puts a team ahead or gives a team a run. So from that standpoint, I think there's so many storylines going into this one.
Let's try to keep it simple. How can Indiana win this game?
I think they have to do at least a few things well to win. Talking to ACC assistant coaches, they said, if you scout North Carolina, about 8 out of 10 possessions are either break or secondary break. That means number one, Indiana has to be very good on transition defense. You're not going to stop Carolina. Nobody's going to stop Carolina. But you've got to be able to get back and slow them down, or at least on some of those cross screens, not let Bryce Johnson just catch it, turn, and get an easy basket. So transition defense has got to be really important. I think you got to be really good as far as Indiana can't turn it over. North Carolina has a losing record when forcing opponents to fewer than 9 turnovers. So you've got to handle the ball. The third thing, you got to shoot it well from 3 in half-court sets. And 4, I really think even though Carolina loves to run, Indiana's built to run too. I don't think Indiana should be scared when it has opportunities to get a quick one. Go get it. Yogi Ferrell said last week, we've got track shoes too.
Yeah.
And I really think that just because Carolina is great at something, I don't think Indiana should look at it from the standpoint of being scared of it, because Indiana can do that too. Maybe not as well, but I think when Indiana gets opportunities, they got to go get them. Those are the four things that stand out the most to me.
And transition gives Indiana open three-pointers. And they can make, they don't have to convert as many as North Carolina if they're getting three and Carolina's getting two. And I think the stats show that Carolina's not terribly great in defending the three, and had some issues in some of their early losses. So, if Indiana can hit, let's say, 10 three-pointers or more, that's a good sign.
That definitely is. And I guess one other thing that I would add is a couple people that I talked to still question North Carolina's toughness. They love their skill, they love their length, they love their athleticism. But some people that I talk to, assistant coaches who have gone against Carolina, still say, if you're tough, if you are a tough team and you have tough guys, go be tough against Carolina. Don't be afraid of, a little bit of physical play. Don't be afraid of when you box out hard and really move them, because that kind of discourages those guys a little bit. So now, is that 100% accurate? Is that maybe some coaches' views? I don't know, but I would say I think it would help Indiana, with the guys that they have, to be a little physical. Don't be afraid of, a little bit of, bumping and knocking guys around a little bit.
One concern for Indiana is Rabjohns' ankle. It's a real issue in this game because Carolina goes with 6'2" and under guards with ability to drive and shoot the ball in Marcus Page and Joel Berry, veteran guys that I would think would be a tough guard for Nick Zeisler if he has to go again, take the lion's share of the 2 guard minutes.
Yeah, and that's going to be tough. Although I will say that I was pretty impressed with Zeisler's defense over the past few games. I think he's gotten a lot better. Robert Johnson and Yogi and some of the other guys said that Zeisler has been playing some extra one-on-one against Josh Newkirk, the Pitt transfer who's at Indiana, who's redshirting this year, who just came back from, or is back on the court now after knee surgery. But they all said that those one-on-one matchups are something they all pointed to and said this is one of the reasons. Yeah. And Newkirk is quick, so I think maybe that has helped him. But certainly if Zeisler's got to go against some of those guys for an extended period, that could be tough. I think it's also going to be interesting to see as Carolina moves its lineups around, who do you throw OG on? You can put OG on a point guard, you can put him on a 2 guard, you can put him on a 3 or a 4. I'm almost curious, are there going to be moments where, Carolina guys do the thing, grab the shirt, and when they want to blow, does it leave kind of a funny lineup that maybe Indiana could just go, okay, OG, go get him?
I think OG takes Justin Jackson if he's playing well.
Yeah.
If not, I think they can throw him on Bryce Johnson if Bryce is going off. And that's the versatility OG gives you. And that's the luxury that Indiana has found more and more as the season has gone along, and paid dividends with Murray and some of the guys that we thought would be tough matchups last Saturday and weren't.
Right. And there aren't a lot of guys who can truly defend 4 possessions in college basketball. I don't mean guard them, but actually defend them, keep them from doing what they do well. And I think what OG does defensively is more impressive than what he does offensively. The offense is good. The dunks are spectacular. 360 was, the stuff that people make videos of. But I really think that defensively, he can impact. That's a skateboarder going by as we're out here on the boardwalk. I do think that OG's defense, the versatility and the fact that he can actually take things away from guys at 4 positions, I think that's something that makes him really special.
All right, and just to wrap things up here, we may have to move from our spot here. Okay. Well, anyway, thanks everybody.
Thanks so much.
We'll look forward to it, and it might not be till 10 p.m. So kick this baby up and relax and watch the Wisconsin Notre Dame game,
and see Peegs and Rabby get in trouble out here.
Yeah, before we get arrested, we're gonna take off. All right, sign off.